you had to advise a development organization that was working in the region, among all this environment, this security environment, if you were a group that is building schools, for instance, or implementing a water and sanitation program, how should they structure their security to operate effectively in this environment?
I will be very hard-nosed about my advice here. First, there has to be very strong relations and dealings with whoever is a dominant clan in the area, not in a way that subverts your own principles, because our own experience is one can make discussions, can deal with them, and make very firm commitments that we will not give you any money at all. However, we will operate in your area because we want to deliver goods in your area. But don't enter in an area where you do not have any connections or access with the important clan. The second point is to, as I've said earlier, trust in some of the indigenous systems for dispute resolution or even access of resources. One of the things I remember years ago that we did was, we didn't want to trust people to distribute relief goods that we wanted to bring in the context of evacuation and displacement, right? So we said, okay, we won't deal with the clans. We'll set up an alternative structure from provincial to village level, right? And so we handed the rice and the other goods through those structures. Well, what did we find out? They were setting aside 10% of those goods and giving them to the clans anyway, even if we had established an alternative structure. So it's a fact of life. One needs to understand that they will be giving some of those to their clan leaders because their clan leaders are people they run to in times of need. They run to them for welfare needs and they run to them for security. And second is to be able to devise or rather trust in local institutions for dispute resolution as a way to manage problems that one will face as a development worker or agency. And I'd like to give an example of this. Now, recently, we had this incident where a local tribal group in Mindanao, one of their members raised an issue over the fact that we had taken pictures of some of their communities and that we had not gotten permission, right? So we went through the entire process of setting up a meeting with the tribal council, and we brought there the people whom we had photographed, and they said to the tribal council, well, actually they were helping us. They were not really, it's not as if they were exploiting us by taking pictures of our community. In fact, they actually delivered this. And the tribal council said, well, then there's no case at all. And they decided, and they told that person who was filing the complaint, then you have no basis at all to raise this at our level. So we used a traditional institution to resolve a dispute. And, if we had not done that, we would have been, what they call this, persona non grata in those areas. And we could not have been able to return.
So acknowledge those systems, those processes, those customs, and operate within that structure is very important for your own security.
That's right. One thing you should not compromise is, of course, your accountability and your good governance of funds. Because that's also very dangerous. Because if that is something that one bargains with, then it's not worth working in a local community, right? Because, it's not worth engaging in corrupt activities just because you want to please local elites. And pretty soon they will understand that, that they would rather set aside those types of, that type of behavior and those incentives for something over the long term.